welcome back to Shutterbug Club. Thank you guys for being here. I'm your host, Sue Shutterbug. If you want to change your life, this episode is for you. I read Atomic Habits by James Clear, so you don't have to, and let's talk about it. This book was so good. So I'm going to be teaching you how to create habits that are sustainable. That way you'll stop procrastinating, you'll stop saying you're going to do something and then not following through with it, and honestly, you'll just have more energy. You will have a reason to wake up in the morning and feel excited about your day because this is a year we are taking action. We are growing, we are completing our goals, we are getting organized. Also, if you just want to have some mental clarity, then this episode is going to be great for you too, because this book has helped me so much with this. If you just have so many things that you need to get done, but you're not sure where to start, what to do, and so you're kind of procrastinating because you just don't know what to do first, then hello, you're in the right place. This episode is for you. So we're going to primarily talk about forming habits in your personal life. And then I was thinking about making my next episode related to the book Atomic Habits, related to business, like how you can use these concepts to form habits to improve your business, because honestly, there's just so many great takeaways from this book. And let's be real, you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of a business. So we're going to just talk about some personal takeaways. I'm going to be sharing with you my 7 life-changing takeaways from this book. But takeaway number 1, everything in life is a habit. If you change your habits, you'll change your life. This is so huge. Just really think about that. If you change your habits, you will change your life. I never really thought about habits like that. I thought a habit was just biting your nails, brushing your teeth, a lot of things you do every day, but I never realized how much of your actions actually are habits and how much the habits you create control your life. Because if you have a bunch of bad habits like scrolling on your phone, that is going to control your life. So I looked up the definition of a habit, and it is, I feel silly for saying that, but it is a regularly repeated action or behavior that becomes almost automatic. Okay, takeaway number 2 is take action. You need to take action right now, as soon as you can. Don't spend time preparing, getting everything perfect before you take action. You need to just do it. Just do it afraid. Do it wrong. Do it messy. Whatever you need to do, whether you're trying to get healthier, whether you're trying to work out, trying to build a business, launch a product, you need to take action. And a lot of people will confuse, movement? That's what James Clear calls it. He says a lot of people will confuse movement with action. And let's talk about the difference. So movement is planning, preparing, researching, and action is doing the thing that's going to create the change, doing the thing that's going to get you the results. So let's talk about some examples. An example of motion, say you want to eat healthier. The motion is going to be spending an hour on Pinterest looking for healthy recipes, or making a grocery list, watching meal prepping videos, because this is what I did when I wanted to eat healthier. I was like, how do people actually plan for their meals for the week? So I watched a whole bunch of meal prepping videos, and I was like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna eat so healthy, because a lot of people will do the movement, they'll do the pre-planning part, but not actually go through and take the action. And so they'll start planning for something and they'll feel like they're making progress. But the truth is, you're not going to make progress until you take the action. So until you actually eat an apple over a cookie, that is an actionable thing that you're doing to go towards your habit that you're trying to create of being healthy or eating healthy. Another actionable thing is actually cooking the meals. If you actually cook them and store them in the fridge, that is a form of action, but you have to actually eat that meal instead of eating something else. So with meal prepping, if you spend 2 hours planning all your meals, getting recipes, everything you need, but then you don't actually make anything, then that is just the motions. You're not taking the action. Or if you buy the groceries but they just sit in your fridge, you did the motion, but you didn't take the action. So we fall into this thinking that doing this researching and prep feels like we're moving, but really we're just avoiding the friction of taking the action. We are procrastinating because taking action is harder than planning. We also feel like it needs to be perfect. If we're trying to launch a new product in our business, we feel like the launch has to be perfect before we can launch it. Like the copy, the wording, the photo, everything has to be perfect. And so we'll procrastinate the actual launch because we're just planning, we're just moving while we're not actually making any real progress. The same goes for like social media. This is a big example that comes to mind because if you want to improve your social media, if you want to post more, then the movement is going to be creating a content calendar, planning what videos you want to create. But the action is going to be recording those videos, editing, and posting. And a lot of people don't go through with the action because it's scary to post a video when you feel like it's not perfect. It's scary to put something out there when you feel like it needs more done to it. And so people will just wait, they'll edit, they'll hoard content because they feel like nothing is good enough to be posted. But you have to do it messy. You have to do it scared, and don't put this pressure on yourself for everything to be perfect. You have to value the practice over perfection. You just have to do it. Take your action. Because the truth is, you can't improve on a habit that doesn't exist yet. So you're not going to get a habit of eating healthier or of posting consistently if you don't start. And you have to start somewhere. So once you start and it becomes easier for you to consistently do those things every day, then you can improve on your habit. But the first step is to take action. Takeaway number 3, focus on getting 1% better every day. Because we often feel like we have to go from 0 to 100 so fast. Like if we are not making that life-changing improvement right now, then it doesn't count. So focus on the 1% today. And this is hard because you don't often see the change right away. When you're building new habits, it can be hard to stick with them because we feel like we're not making impact. If you start working out today, you're not going to see improvement today, maybe not even this month, maybe not even next month. But the truth is, you have to keep at it for years for these habits to add up. But they do. And even though it's only 1% today, you are going to notice that change, and you are going to change your life if you stick with it and continue to do 1% better every day, because the other option is to do 1% worse. And 1% worse will lead to 0. And then you're not changing anything. You're just stuck in this loop of trying to change but never getting anywhere. So I want you to celebrate the small wins, even though you can't see their impact now. If you want to read more and you only read one word, you only read one page or one word, it doesn't matter. That is still 1% of growth towards the person you want to be. So I want you to tell me, what is your 1% better that you're going to do today? Tell me in the comments. Maybe it's making your bed. Maybe it's journaling, drinking a cup of water, going on a 5-minute walk. What is your 1% that you're going to do today to get you 1% closer to your future self that you want to become? Takeaway number 4, the truth of why you struggle with discipline or self-control. Discipline is huge, and honestly, when I can be more disciplined and have more self-control, I feel like I have my life together more. Like, I feel more confident to get things done because honestly, discipline is just respecting yourself. It's doing things for your future self that you will thank yourself for. It's honestly just valuing yourself enough to do these things. So if you struggle with self-control or discipline, the reason is because you're relying on motivation instead of systems. So if you tell yourself, I'm going to work out every single day this month, you're just relying on that motivation. You're relying on yourself that you're going to feel motivated every single day this month to go and work out, instead of putting a system in place that ensures you will go and work out, a system that makes it difficult to not miss a day of working out, or a system that makes it easy to work out every day. Because the truth is, disciplined people are just simply better at structuring their life in a way that doesn't require self-control. So disciplined people will prime their environment to make it where they don't need self-control. If you're trying to eat healthier and you have cookies on the counter, then you're automatically going to go and eat a cookie because it's going to be harder to have that self-control. Whereas if you go through your pantry and you just throw out everything that you know you're not going to want to eat, that's going to ruin your discipline, then you have no other option. So when you're disciplined, you're making the, hold on, let me think about this. When you're being disciplined, you're making the right option the easy one, because the wrong option would be eating a cookie. But if you have no cookies in the house or like anything sweet that you could snack on, you're gonna have to go get in your car, drive all the way to the store and get a cookie. And you're most likely not gonna do that. So you're making the easy option the right option, and that's how disciplined people really stay disciplined. So if you find yourself constantly saying these things, I'm gonna work out more, I'm gonna read more, I'm gonna journal, but you never follow through with them, think about how can I change my environment to make that action easy. So if you want to journal more, leave a journal on your bed, a journal and a pen on your bed. When you make your bed in the morning, leave it there. That way, when you go to bed at night, your journal's right there. You don't even have to think about it. You can just simply write one sentence in the journal and put it beside your bed. And that is 1% better that you are becoming that day because you made that action easy. You didn't even have to think about it. The other reason you might be struggling with self-control is if you're trying to do too much too soon. If you're making it too overwhelming, like people who say they're going to start working out or going to get in shape and then they work out like 2 hours a day, like twice a day, they go super hard just too fast, and then you're going to burn yourself out. It's going to be harder to keep that habit long term, to keep it sustainable. So start small. You don't have to start all in. Let me re-say that. You don't have to start really big. You should be all in, but you don't have to start with the hardest thing. If you want to start journaling, don't say I'm going to write 3 pages of journaling tonight. Say I'm going to write 1 word about my day. That's as simple as it has to be until you can pick up the momentum, until it becomes easy where you are writing every day. That's when you can start to build on that habit. So think to yourself, what is the smallest possible version of this habit that I can do right now? Okay, number 5, and this one is my favorite, romanticize your life. Now, I used to hear this on social media all the time, and I was like, people always say romanticize your life, and I'm like, okay, but what is that? What does that mean? What do you do to romanticize your life? And the truth is, romanticizing your life isn't trying to make it better, trying to get something or do something to make your life better. It's simply finding the beauty in the things that you already have or in the things that you're already doing. So James Clear talks about making habits attractive and satisfying, and that's literally what romanticizing your life is. It's shifting your mindset and environment to associate positive feelings with your daily routine. So you can use your senses to make a task that's hard or annoying, something that you have to get done. You can romanticize this task, and you do that by bringing in your other senses. So here's an example. If you need to get some studying done, some work done, or like some cleaning on your house done, this is typically something that you're kind of dreading, you don't really want to do. Romanticize it. Before you sit down to get work done, light a candle, put on some music, put your phone on do not disturb. Really just get in the zone. If you create this kind of routine before you have to do a task that's harder, then it's going to make the task easier and more enjoyable. And it's also going to help you get into the flow state. James Clear talks about the flow state a little bit in his book, which I'll probably talk about more in the work episode, because this is like when you're doing a task and you're just so in the zone that it becomes easy. Like you're just so focused, you're getting so much done, you're very productive, you're in flow, you're in the zone. And you do this by creating that routine of setting the mood. You're creating this habit that lets your brain know, okay, this means I'm about to work hard. This means I'm about to get some work done. I have my candle lit. I have my music playing. That routine is creating the habit of getting yourself ready to work hard. And it's also romanticizing your life because it just makes getting the work done a lot more fun. Same thing if you want to start reading or start journaling, make it fun. Like, it doesn't have to be this task that you just have to get done. If you're reading a book, grab a cozy blanket, get your favorite drink, and really set the mood, set the lighting nice and relaxing, and enjoy your time reading, enjoy your time journaling. The next thing you can do to romanticize your life is change your language that you use, change the way that you speak and the way that you think. So when you have to do a task, don't think you have to do it, but you get to do it. Don't think of it as a burden, but as an opportunity. If you need to do a chore, if you need to clean your house, don't think of it as a chore, but think of it as a moment of self-respect, because that's what being disciplined is. You are respecting yourself, your future self. You're doing things to help your future self. So don't think I have to do this chore. Think I am respecting my future self. If you have to do something that's hard, don't focus on how hard it is, focus on how meaningful it is, because typically those hard things that we have to get done make the most impact. Those are usually those actions that we're taking, and they are so meaningful. So focus on the meaningful part of what you have to get done. Here are some examples. Don't think I have to do laundry. Think I get to wear my favorite pair of jeans. Or don't think I have to go on a walk just to get my steps in. Think I get to go on a walk to breathe in fresh air and to enjoy my neighborhood. And don't think I have to clean my kitchen tonight. Think I get to reset my space. So in the morning when I wake up, I feel refreshed, clean, energized. You're doing this for your future self. The biggest takeaway from romanticizing your life is to think about the benefits and not the drawbacks. Don't think about how hard something is going to be, but think about what you're getting from it. Romanticizing your life is really about what oops. I almost said James Charles. What James Clear calls changing your mindset and environment to work with your brain, not against it. Okay, number 6, pick the right friends. I'm sure you've heard this before, like you are who your friends are, but when you surround yourself with people who have the habits that you want to have, then you'll rise together because we are wired to want to fit in. So if you have friends who wake up early, who get exercise every day, eat healthy, you're going to be more likely to pick up those habits and to do those habits because you want to fit in with those friends. And the same is true if you have friends with bad habits. You're not going to feel as motivated to do those good habits because your friends aren't. And also, just having a friend makes a new habit so much fun. When you have an accountability partner, when you have somebody who can do it with you, like this is also why I talk about my books on the podcast so much, because I didn't consider myself a reader in the past ever. Like this is something new I started doing. And I talk about it with you guys because I'm like, I just want somebody to connect to about this. Like, this is a new habit that I've formed, and I want somebody to bond with over it. So, yeah, find yourself a friend who values the same things that you do, and you guys will rise together. Like, I have a friend who I always go and work out with, and it just makes it so much easier. Also, you're gonna be less likely to bail on your friend than you would on yourself. Like, if your friend is going to the gym waiting for you, then you're gonna get your booty out there and go work out, as opposed to if it was just yourself, you could procrastinate and eventually just never go. Okay, number 7, and this one is huge. This one is crazy. Okay, are you ready? Your habits are your identity. The process of building a habit is the process of becoming yourself. This, like, I never thought about habits in this way. This part blew my mind. But you don't build better habits by focusing on what you want to achieve. You build better habits by deciding who you want to become. You're building these habits for your future self. So, for an example, if you want to wake up earlier, but you don't see yourself as a morning person, If you're like, yeah, I want to wake up earlier, but it's just harder for me because I'm not a morning person, you're not going to build that habit. That is just setting yourself up for failure. You have to start seeing yourself as that person, because you have to really think about the root of it. Why do you want to wake up earlier? Like, that is an achievement, is waking up earlier, but really it's because you want to be the kind of person who gets more done in the day, who achieves their goals. You want to become a morning person. And so if you're constantly telling yourself you're not a morning person, you are sabotaging yourself. That's also why building a habit does not have like a time frame. Because I used to think, oh, if you do something for 60 days, it becomes a habit. But it's not about how long it takes, it's about how many times you do it until it becomes automatic. Because it's a fact that repeating a habit consistently leads to physical changes in your brain, making the habit easier and more automatic over time. So creating habits proves you're physically changing physical changes in your brain to become that person. So if your habits don't match how you see yourself, then your brain is going to flake every time. Your brain is going to be like, what are you doing trying to wake up early? Like, we're not a morning person. Let's just go back to bed. We can get that stuff done another day because we're not a morning person. So you have to tell yourself, you have to become the person that you're trying to become through these habits. Here are some examples of like a habit and the identity that it's building. So putting on workout clothes, that's a habit. That's a very simple, small, like simplified habit of becoming somebody who values movement. Writing 100 words is the identity of a writer. You write 100 words, you are a writer. Reading one page in a book, you are a reader. You are building that identity. Okay, so here is my journal prompt for you. I want you guys to do this right now, or as soon as you're, like, if you're driving, don't do it right now, but as soon as you can, get your notes app, get a pen and paper, and I want you to write down this prompt. The kind of person I want to be is, and then write down this one. One tiny habit I can do today to cast a vote for that version of me is. So that's going back to the 1%. What is one thing that you're going to improve on 1% that's going to go towards that future version of yourself that you want to be? Okay, those were my 7 life-changing takeaways. Now let's talk about how to actually build a habit that is going to stick around long term, that is going to be sustainable. Because let me tell you the good news, there's actually a recipe for creating habits and building habits that stick. So there are 4 phases in the cycle of building a habit. The first is the cue, then the craving, then the response, and finally, finally the reward. Okay, so number 1, the cue is the trigger. This is going to be the thing that starts the cycle, that starts the habit cycle of building a habit. So you can prime your environment to trigger a habit. Just like I said earlier, putting a book on your pillow is going to remind you to journal or to read at night. If you put that book on your pillow, then at the end of the day, when you go to bed, you're going to see that journal, and that's going to be the trigger that cues you to start that habit. So after your brain sees the cue, your brain thinks of the habit cycle is triggered. The next is the craving. And this is going to be your desire for the reward. And the thing about the craving is your body, your brain is going to do whatever is easiest to get to that reward. It's going to do whatever is easiest to satisfy that craving. So the third step in the cycle is the response. And this is the action your body is going to take to try and satisfy that craving. So the key to making a habit stick, making it repeatable, is to make that habit as easy as it can be. Because if you want to wake up really early, you wake up, your alarm goes off, the easiest thing you can do is to turn your alarm off, like hit snooze. And that's why so many people hit snooze over and over, is because that's the easiest response. So you need to prime your environment to make your response easier. One thing you can do is set a cup of water beside your bed. And when you first wake up, don't even think about like getting out of bed. Don't think you have to get up. Just simply drink the water. You don't have to do anything but drink the water, and even set your phone further from the water. So it's like you have to reach for the water before you reach for your phone. Like, you're just helping your self-discipline again. Reach for the water. And I've actually done this, and I'm shocked how well it works, because once you drink that water, you're like a little bit more awake, and then you can make the conscious decision to actually wake up. Like, getting up early becomes so much easier if you do that simple thing before you like hit your phone. Another thing you can do is putting your phone in a completely different room, so that way you actually have to get up out of bed in order to get your phone. And then even then, like, drink a glass of water, because even then it can be tempting to just go right back to bed if you just get up and turn off your alarm. But if you make yourself drink a glass of water before you go back to bed, then your brain will become more awake and you'll be able to make that decision more consciously. But okay, the real takeaway from the step 3 in the cycle is make the response easy. Make the right action the easiest action. And finally, number 4 in the cycle, and this is going to be the thing that really determines if this is a habit that sticks. Number 4 is the reward, the satisfaction. Did you satisfy your craving? And this determines if the habit is going to be something that you repeat. The reward is the dopamine hit that reinforces the habit. So if the reward doesn't satisfy your brain, then you won't repeat the habit. And I tried to create a habit for myself before I read this book, and I never followed through with it. And after I read this book, I was like, oh, that's why, like, I didn't have the reward. So you have to like set a reward for yourself if the natural reward isn't satisfying enough, because like I said, you're not going to see improvement right away. If you work out today, you're not going to see improvement today. So you have to reward yourself in a different way that makes that habit something you want to repeat. So the habit that I tried to create for myself was improving my posture, like rolling my shoulders back, because I seen a video on YouTube. Like, I was looking up communication skills and just like speaking things, trying to improve on that. And this thing I seen on YouTube was so good to build this habit. And the guy said to put a sticky note in your house by all of your door frames. And you don't have to write anything on the sticky note, just put it by all of your doors. That way, when you walk through a door, you'll see the sticky note and automatically like roll your shoulders back, improve your posture, stand up just a little bit straighter. And James Clear does use this tactic in his book. It's like, what was it called? I think it's habit stacking or habit association, where you're associating the habit with something you already do. Like, I already walk through the door, but now I'm associating like standing up a little straighter every time I walk through the door. So I'll see the sticky note and I'll do that. So let's go through the habit cycle and figure out why this didn't work. Cue. The cue was seeing the sticky note. Once I seen that, my brain was like, oh yeah, my craving was to have better posture. And my response was to roll my shoulders back. So there's cue, craving, response. Now, reward. My long-term reward would be having better posture, but I didn't see any immediate result. Like, I started really well for the first week, and then as the week went on, I started like seeing the sticky note and kind of ignoring it. And then honestly, after like 1 week, I took them down because I was just completely ignoring them. And although I still want to have better posture, I still want that end reward, the immediate reward just wasn't enough for me. So let's talk about how you can improve that reward in order to repeat the cycle and create long-term habits. The first thing you can do is track your progress. Like, keep track of everything you're doing. So if you have a calendar and you want to work out every day or a few days that month, then X out, put a little check mark, a little star, a little X, whatever you want on the days that you did it, because that's satisfying. You're tracking your progress. At the end of the day, you get to go to that calendar and feel the satisfaction of marking it out. Yes, you did it. That's also why I like to create to-do lists. I almost always create a physical to-do list of the things that I need to get done, because I love that satisfaction of crossing it out with a pin on my notebook. And so that's me tracking my reward. And so honestly, with the sticky note thing, I probably could have put some pins or markers by my door frames, and every time I walked through, like, put a little tally on the sticky note in my door, and that way I would track every time, like, yep, I stood up straight, little tally. If just tracking your progress isn't enough, then give yourself an actual reward. So if I got enough check marks, then I could give myself something I want, like maybe having a relaxing evening, taking a bath, or even buying something I like. But don't make your reward counter your habit you're trying to build. So if you're trying to build the habit of going to the gym and then you go to the gym, like say every day that month, and then you reward yourself by buying yourself an ice cream, that's not going to work. That's just going to set you back. So instead, reward yourself for by buying yourself a cute workout set. That's going to motivate you to work out even more and push you towards the future version of yourself you want to become. There will be days that you don't feel like showing up, but stepping up when it's annoying or painful is going to be what makes that difference. Because the secret to success is showing up and doing it anyways. That's what's going to lead to the lasting change, because usually when you start it, it's easy. It's going to be easy at first. You're going to have that motivation that's pushing you. But what happens on the hard days when you don't want to do it? You have to have those systems in place that are going to hold you accountable, that are going to make self-discipline easier, almost where you don't even have to think about it. And you're going to show up on the hard days, and that's going to build a habit, and that's going to build your future version of yourself, the person you want to become. Ah, so exciting. I'm so passionate about this topic. And truly, this book has just gave me so much inspiration. So go read it. Let me know what you think if you read it. And if you found any value from this episode, please leave me a review and send me a DM. What else do you guys want to hear about? Like, have there been any topics you want to discuss further? Let me know if you want the business version of this book, like how we can apply habits into business to improve our business. And yeah, I'm going to go think about the person I want to become.